Hey y'all, hey. All right, welcome back to another episode of Meditations with Marini. I have missed you guys because I was at the conference and so I haven't done a video since the other day and I had like homework that was due, so I apologize, but I missed you guys. But I'm back. And I'm going to follow up with I wanted to say too, I have on a t-shirt today from my son. I'm kind of representing. This was one of the organizations that he used to participate in, and they had a robotics team for children who typically would not be able to participate in robotics and STEM programs. And I felt like I wanted to connect with them today. So, as a matter of fact, I may take a moment and send them a small donation because they are a nonprofit organization that helps students. And I might pin their information to my comment section so that you guys could join in too. But I want to get right to it because somebody sent me a couple of messages in reference to my last video about ladies and your money. And they kind of told me that Marini, you're all over the place. It's interesting because I sent my video to some of my personal friends. I typically don't do that. I just put the videos out there and whoever watches it watches it. So most of the people that are watching my videos are just people that randomly find them. But when I sent it out, some of my female friends, they were like talking about the aesthetics. Oh, I don't know if we could hear you, and you were in a room, and you shouldn't drink water that way. And so then I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then the men that I sent it to, several of them were like, sis, this is good. This is good information. You look good, everything. But a couple of men asked that I give a little bit more information. And then there was someone who actually said, well, Marini, this is just your opinion. And so, yes, it is my opinion because it's my channel and it's from my perspective. But I want to put some substance along with what we talked about. So, when I was talking about a woman, no matter how much money that she makes, her husband is still the head of the household. I want to give some different perspectives on that. And I want to read this to you. Ephesians 5:25. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. And it says that particular scripture is a call for husbands to love their wives with a self-sacrificing Christ-like love. This love involves not just affection, but also the willingness to serve. Somebody say willingness to serve. Protect and care for their wives' needs, just as Christ served, protected, and cared for the church. And so, to put these in perspective, when I said that the order of the household, that doesn't change because the order of the church and of ministry is Christ, man, and then the household. So if you talk about Christ being the head of the life, man being the head of the household, and then you falling up under that, unless you're in a situation like with myself where I am the head of the household right now because I'm the female that's here. Now my son, my oldest son, he always tell me that he's the son daddy, and that's a good thing. Like, he's understanding his role in what comes along with the responsibilities of being over a household. But remember the last time we were talking about dating a man and your money. Basically, if you're a person that you're making more money than your mate, then how do you handle that? Like, are you the lead of how you all manage the money in the household? Is that something that's discussed amongst you both, or is that something that you just make the decision on because you make the most money? And if that is the decision, then it's not right. It's not going to be popular, but it's going to be good. So I jotted down a couple of notes, and one of them I have: money does not matter to a real man. Either you can live within his budget, or you have to decide if this person is for you. So for instance, if, let's just say, like, I'm not talking about people who are really making their own funds, they're doing what they need to do, and they're taking care of their own business. Like for me right now, I live off of my own budget, and so I do have a certain lifestyle that I'm accustomed to. However, if sometimes one of the things that I think about is if I met someone and we began to talk about getting married, I would have to look at like whether we would stay in my house or whether we would stay in his house or whether we would maybe sell and purchase another house. Would we rent the houses that we already have out? Like how, what would that look like? But then I would not expect, to be honest, at this age bracket that I'm in right now. Remember, my channel is for people that are 40, 50 years old. I'm not interested in jumping out there and getting a $400,000 or $500,000 home. And like the transition that has taken place in Atlanta, you know, the homes that are in my community now, these homes that were normally selling for 170 to 250, $300,000 are now $400,000, $500,000, and $600,000 homes. So you have to really look at what kind of lifestyle are you looking at having. Are you doing that for the purpose of just saying that we have this lifestyle, or are you doing it for the purpose of that's what you actually need for the relationship? So you don't want to put that kind of pressure on the relationship. I would just tell you that, especially as we're going into our retirement years. And when I said that he doesn't, deciding if that's the right person for you, it might just be a conversation that you all need to have. You know, if it's someone that is making $80,000 to $150,000 a year, they live a certain lifestyle. And so you may find it difficult to date someone that might make $30,000 a year, whereas with someone that might make $50,000 a year, it wouldn't be much of a difference for them to date someone that makes $30,000 a year. So I think you have to kind of put it in perspective. The other thing that I wrote is men are not moved by the lifestyle that you can create for him, but he will be concerned about the lifestyle that he can create for you. And I put in parentheses, most men, he will be concerned that he can provide. And I said that because the natural state of a man is to want to provide for the woman that he loves. Now, key component, the woman that he loves. He's not going to want to do that for any woman, because he's not going to want to make those type of sacrifices just for anybody. He is going to only want to do that for a woman that he cares enough about to say that she is important enough to me that I want to basically make sure that her wishes and her desires are carried out. And so I wrote a note that a natural state of a man is to provide. He wants you to have what you want and or desire. In most cases, most of the men that I've talked to, my barbershop talk, they want their wives to be happy. They want her to have the furniture that she wants. They want her to have the car that she wants to drive. They want her to travel to the places that she wants to go, to the point that sometimes, if I'm completely honest with you, there have been conversations that I've had with some of them about the fact that they are more enablers than they are providers. And that right there is a whole lesson on itself. You can enable someone to the point that you think that you're providing for them, but if they are women who constantly charge up credit cards, and then you go to work and you work overtime to pay it back down, and then you give it right back to her and let her go back and do the same thing over again, no, that's not providing. That's enabling, because all of us have a fiscal responsibility within a relationship. And so when you are in a relationship with someone, it should be a partnership. If he is working and he's able to do that, why are you out charging up the credit card in the first place? Like, that should be a conversation that we're having. Most people got more clothes and shoes and anything that they're going to ever be able to wear. So why would you need to go out and do more of that? One of the things that, and just to give you an idea of what a good support looks like, when we first purchased this house, this home was bigger than the home that I had built. I had built a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath home. And when we moved into this home, I did not want to take on any additional debt, and I didn't want to do that because I felt like we needed to get accustomed to what the electric bill was going to be like, what the water bill was going to be like what were going to be the differences that were going to take place in the household. And so I would not purchase furniture. I felt like we had furniture that we could already have in place. Hey buddy, I'm doing a video, give me a second, okay? Had a good day? All right. And so that was my son coming in. So, I think for the first year and a half or so, we stayed in there's a second master. We stayed in the second master. We didn't even move into the main bedroom because I did not want to take on debt of going out and getting furniture just to say that we had furniture in the household. So I am a person that I do not like to finance but one room at a time. If I'm going to purchase new furniture, I'm only going to do one room. I know some people that they go out and they'll furnish the whole house, rooms to go, and all those people, they'll give you $20,000-$30,000 if you want to do that. But what do you do if somebody loses their job? What do you do if the overtime is cut back? Even though my ex-husband could make plenty of overtime, I did not build our lifestyle off of his overtime. I built our lifestyle off of his base salary, and that way, if they cut the overtime, we had not fixed our life where we were living off of what he was going to make extra. That's just a nugget, ladies. Put that in your back pocket. And for the men too, if you are an enabler, and you might need to just sit down with your wife and say, hey baby, I've been doing this, but as we get older, I can't keep supplying that need for your credit card fetish. You're gonna have to just cut that out. So I also have, he will not move quickly when making major decisions because he will want to process how he is going to handle the responsibility of your needs. And that means, like, we always say my brother is so slow. He don't make no decision fast. And boy, it could be so frustrating for his wife, for me, like anybody that's connected to him. He like, I got to think about it. And one of the things that he told me is that I have to think about, no matter what her salary is, how I'm going to handle that if something falls through. Everything falls on my shoulder, and I had never looked at it from that perspective. But talking to men in the barbershop and talking to my brother, I have a better understanding now, and so it makes me a little bit more sensitive to how I expect that a man would move so quickly in my life. Now the other thing is that I'm just not a high maintenance type person. Like, I'm not going to be one that's going to spend money like that. Usually I'm going to be the one that's going to be a little bit more frugal. And if I find somebody that has that match with me, that's going to be great. The last bullet point that I put is, when a man loves you, he does not count your wallet, but he just would hope that you would be considerate of his when it concerns you. That's a good one. So basically, if he loves you, he's not really thinking about how much you make. He might give you a water bill, electric bill, or something like that. But if he primarily takes on most of the responsibility of the house, you know, ladies, be sure to be considerate of the fact that he is working, that he's paying the majority of the bills, that even though he supplies most of your needs, it doesn't mean that you have to have everything that you just decide that you want. It's kind of like a kid that doesn't have any control. Make sure that you are looking at the fact that if something does happen to him, how is it that you could then manage that household without his income? And you know, or look at, okay, if he's able to pay all of this and I still have, you know, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 left every month, what bill could we possibly pay off early? Can we pay the truck off in 2 years instead of 5? You know, what could we do? Yes, it would be a tight squeeze, and yes, we would make the sacrifice, but what could you do to make the load a little bit lighter for him when it comes to the money? So when the person told me that that was just my opinion, yes, to a certain degree it is my opinion, but the other portion is that I'm talking about the order of God. So remember, I'm speaking from a Christian standpoint, and I'm talking about building some type of legacy with someone that you're looking at spending the rest of your life with. For most of us, or most of the people that are watching my channel, they've already been married before and had a marriage that didn't work. And typically, we can look at, maybe I'll look up the statistics, but statistically it's going to either be somebody stepped outside the marriage. Finances is one of the greatest components that causes stress in a relationship, and oftentimes men are willing to make the sacrifice for the woman that he loves. But that doesn't mean, women, that we have to make him make that sacrifice. Sometimes people are testing people to see just how far they will go, when most times they will go as far as we would allow them to go if they love us. So you have to just figure that part out. But for the most part, ladies, we're just talking about the fact that your money, yes, is your money, but if if you make more money in the household, it does not drive that you are the head of the household. He still is the head of the home, and then you have to assure that there is still an order that is in place for you to recognize that and honor him as the husband and the lead of your household. So I know this one is not going to be real popular because the other one wasn't either, but at the end of the day, we want to grow, we want to develop, and we want to be stretched beyond our normal capacity. And what I'll say to you is, if you find that you think that I'm not saying the right thing, maybe share this with your mate or let him hear it. Or guys, if you are dealing with this in the household, maybe you might just need to put it on and, let it just be playing, or ask her to listen to it and see whether or not she can hear it from a different perspective in a different vein. So if you don't do anything else, guys, I need y'all to put some comments out there for me. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. I need for you to click like. I need for you to share this with a friend. And I need for you to subscribe. Have a good day.